I decided to get up really early this morning. It's been very difficult conditions to fish lately. The wind's just been blowing so hard for, it feels like forever now at this point. You know, if you live in Florida, you know the wind has been terrible and it's been making fishing very difficult. It's been very slow for me. So I decided I want to get up a little earlier this morning and hit some dock lights and see if we can get on some fish before the sun even comes up. You know, knock out a few fish, and maybe they're biting a little better during the night and when it's still dark out. So that's the plan this morning. We are going to get on the water, throw on dock lights for about an hour or so, maybe fish some bridges in the dark and see if we can catch some snook to start off the morning right. That's the plan, man. Alright, let me see if I can explain what's going on. It is blowing about 12 miles per hour, if not a little windier than that, and it is starting to rain a little bit. But we're going to fish some dock lights here. I'm throwing a little Shimano Stratic. This is my original Shimano Stratic right here. 17-pound fluorocarbon on here to a 25-pound leader. Right now there's a little popper on there. I might try it for a second just to see how it works, but if it doesn't work, I'm going to put on shrimp because they were eating shrimp the other night. But we're going to start throwing here. You know, I don't know if I'm going to be able to film the whole time just to kind of be respectful in these residential areas and not shine this giant bright light. But we're going to see what happens and hopefully show you some fish. We're on. I know you guys can't see much, but we'll pop this camera on when we get this fish in. Just a nice snook. Alright, first fish of the morning right there. There's a healthy little snook. He's about, I don't know, 22 inches I'd guess. And what I'm doing with this, I'm literally just throwing a DOA shrimp right now, any artificial shrimp you want, and I'm letting it sink right in the edges of the light and fishing it very, very slowly, and it's working very well. That's the first fish of the morning. I've only casted probably 3 times. We're going to keep throwing and see if we can catch a few more of these guys before the sun comes up. Beautiful fish right there. Off he goes. Alright, it's probably going to be the last light we're going to hit right here because it's just super windy. And actually, it's about 6 a.m. right now, and a lot of the lights in the river, I'm watching some of them turn off because they're on timers and they'll turn on at 6 p.m., go off at 6 a.m., or 8 p.m., 8 a.m. kind of deal, but a lot of them are off right now, so we got one more to hit, and then we're gonna move on to some bridges, I think. Alright, we'll be done with lights for now. You know, honestly, catching one fish, I'm happy with that. Typically in the mornings, the dock light bite is actually much more difficult than night because they're up all night feeding. You know, the fish are on the lights, they're feeding on the lights, and so they stay up all night feeding. So in the morning, they're not super hungry. But we're going to move to a bridge and see if we can maybe catch a big one out of the bridge. Got a Calcutta, got my Saragossa, might throw some big swim baits, things of that nature. See if we can hook up with a big one. It is looking like a beautiful morning. It's still windier than heck, but I think we'll be able to deal with it and maybe catch some fish. Alright, spot number 1. I know you probably can't see too much right now, but throwing a swimming mullet, just a little mullet swim bait right here on a little Calcutta 200. And when it's darker out, the fish will come off the bottom a little bit and the snook will suspend around the pilings and even eat up top as well. So we'll throw this for a minute before we switch to some bottom running baits and just, you know, make a quick run with something that's moving pretty quick and see if we get any eats, and then we'll move to slow work in the bottom. Alright, we're just throwing a 1-ounce jig right here with a big Paca trailer, or Paca craw daddy, or whatever the stupid thing's called. It's a 1-ounce jig, Alabama craw color. We're just gonna bounce it around the pilings and see what they want, because I threw a big swim bait. I might go back to it, but I didn't get a single sniff on the big swim bait, so we'll see how this does. Alright, just did a pass through with the jig, and I had one bite on it, but nothing really was popping out at me. And that doesn't mean there's not fish here. I think it just means that we need to find what they want to eat. So we're going to keep switching up lures until we catch fish here for the most part. You know, we won't waste too much time if it gets down to it and it just seems like we're not going to catch anything. We'll leave, but most of the time, I know there's fish here. It's not like there's not. We just got to figure out what they're in the mood for eating here. There's a fish. Doesn't feel like a big one. Oh my gosh, what the heck? The jack ate that terrorize off the bottom. I was all the way on the bottom and he came down and ate it. It's weird. But first fish on the bridge, I suppose. cut that loose for you, buddy. All right, well, let's hope the next one turns into a snook instead. Oh my gosh, another? Oh, wow, that was a snook. No, that was weird, dude. That was very strange. I was reeling it and I thought I got bumped. I tried to set the hook and I missed, and I started reeling it all the way in. He came out and ate it. I guess they wanted a smaller presentation this morning, it seems. He's not a big one, but he's digging like he's big. Okay. Fish number 3 of the morning. Alright, third fish of the morning right there, just a little snook, probably about the same size one we caught the dock light this morning. That's cool though. We're gonna release him and hopefully stick a big one, but it seems they're keying in on smaller presentations for sure. There he goes. Alright, we are gonna make a move. I would say the first bridge was semi-successful, you know, not exactly the size fish we're looking for, but caught a few. So we're gonna make a move and see if we can catch more fish. Alright, something that can be pretty effective around bridges that I probably don't throw nearly enough are jerkbaits and twitch baits. They work very, very well, and the best way to do it is you pull them and you let them sit in the spaces between the pilings, the gaps between the pilings, and a lot of times you'll just get absolutely demolished by big snook using these types of baits. So we'll see what happens. We'll make a run with a jerkbait. Oh, there's a fish. Little jack. Two of these little buggers today. Alright, well, just one little squeaker jack on the Yozuri twitch bait, jerk bait, whatever you want to call the thing. So I'm going to pick up Terrorize and see if they're also eating little presentations over here. I'm going to take a guess and say probably so. I can't tell if it's decent yet or not. I don't think it is. It's shaking real weird though. Oh my gosh, another jack? Why are these big? No, what is this? This is a redfish. Are you kidding me? That is awesome. Just so cool. Is that awesome or what? Just a little baby squeaker redfish, but that's very cool. I don't get to catch very many of these guys. And look at his beautiful blue tail right there. That is just, I'm very happy. This was like the smaller fish I've caught today, but I'm very happy to catch that little guy right there. Very, very awesome. There he goes right there. Now, I know that was a squeaker, but that was really a blessing. I don't get to catch very many of those, so it's always really cool to catch them. And they are just so beautiful. You know, I wasn't even sure what I had on at first. I was sitting there fighting it, and I was like, it feels like I have a jack on, but it doesn't look like a jack. And but that was awesome, man. Very, very cool morning. Couple of little snook, a few little jack, a redfish. Very cool. All right, hopped out of the wind as best I could, so I can show you guys what I'm throwing today. You know, it's been a good day, I would say. You know, a lot of bites and a lot of little fish, but nothing too crazy. But I'll show you what I've caught pretty much all my fish on right here. I'm throwing a 7-foot medium light rod. This is actually just a Gander Guide series rod, very cheap rod, and I've had it for 3 years and it works amazing, and I've caught some big fish on it. To a Shimano Sustain 3000 running 15-pound braid to 30-pound fluorocarbon, and I'm using a very long fluorocarbon leader, about 8 feet of fluorocarbon. I am always a fan of big, long leaders. I just feel like it never hurts, and if it helps you get more bites, why the heck not? And what has been catching all the fish today, just a little root beer Terrorize right there. You know, it's interesting. that this thing even catches any fish at all, considering it really has no action. You know, it has a little tail wiggle, but that's about it. And all I'm doing is just throwing it up in the bridge. We've landed in the mangroves, that's okay. Throwing it up underneath the bridge as far as I can, letting it sink all the way to the bottom, and it's just a really slow creep and double tapping it off the bottom. So it's a kick up and then a dash and let it fall back down. Up, dash, back down. And I'm doing that the whole way. And I like to let it sit about 2 to 3 seconds in between twitches. So bump, bump, let it sit. Bump, bump, let it sit. And that's what we're doing all along the bridge pilings. I'm hitting as close as I can to the pilings and then out in the middle and covering as much ground as I can. You know, these bad boys, big fish will eat them. Not very often. You catch a lot of small fish on them. They love them. This is my go-to tarpon bait as well, and it works extremely well for tarpon and snook and redfish, apparently. You know, that was very cool. I know that wasn't a big redfish at all. It's probably only 18 inches long, but it's really a treat for me to catch redfish because I don't get to catch them very often. The area I live, it just doesn't have a big population of them, so it's always cool to catch one. But I think we'll hit 1 or 2 more spots and call it a day. It's been an eventful morning. Nothing too crazy, but it's been good. All right, done for the day. You know, it ended up being a pretty decent day. Nothing huge, but it was very cool catching that little redfish. I just never get to catch them, so that's always a blessing for sure. And getting out early and fishing the dock lights, that's a very effective way to make sure you catch some fish on your day out. Yeah, it's not a big deal either. Just get up 30 minutes earlier than you normally would to go out, and you could hit dock lights for 15, 30 minutes before you start fishing normally. But today was fun. Very cool catching the redfish, catching a few nice sized snook, a bunch of little squeaker jack. It was a good day. You know, I lost 2 fish on this last bridge here, but that's just the way it goes. But good day overall. I appreciate you guys. That is it for today. Till next time.